What's up, beautiful peeps? CB is here, hanging out in my hood. Listen, guys and girls and everybody in between out there in this beautiful universe, I want to talk to you today about Fast X and how I was able to be blessed in the Fast and Furious franchise. Back in 2013, I got this phone call while I was on a Disney show in Atlanta, filming outside of Atlanta, called Resurrection. And my friends today, they called me and they asked me, and they were like, hey man, you've been chosen to be a billionaire playboy. And I'm like, okay, on what? And they're like, Furious 7. And I'm like, Furious 7? Like Fast and Furious? And they're like, yeah, please be with us. It's like a really long film set schedule to where it was like, I believe we filmed a week and a half to 2 weeks on the first gauntlet. And during all of that, we got our fittings, we got all kinds of cool wardrobe tips and everything, and where we actually started filming in Abu Dhabi, and it was an inside scene, okay? And it takes place in this huge chic billionaire house that's like literally in the movie, it's like these towers in Abu Dhabi, right? It's where the scene where the car goes through the tower and jumps and all that cool stuff goes in. Like, dude and dudettes, like seriously, I got to act with Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Ronda Rousey. T-Pain was there doing DJ. James Wan was the director. Dewayne Johnson was there. I don't know if I said Jason Statham. Let's see who else. There was a lot of people in there as well. It was just a blast. It was the most amazing party scene. And then the director asked me to go up into the balcony after we'd been partying in the party scene all day. And so I got chosen with these two cool models to go up there, and they pretended to be like my girlfriends. And so in the scene, I'm up on the balcony, and it's the part where Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, and Michelle Rodriguez comes out of the elevator, and they look right there, and they've got their microphones and all that stuff with their radios, and they kind of spread out, and that's where they look amongst all the people, and they want to spot the person that they need to target in the actual movie. It was amazing. That was the scene where Michelle Rodriguez comes out, they do their spread, they go down into the party scene, they start mingling, and then Michelle Rodriguez goes back behind, and Ronda Rousey, starts the big fight with her and everything else. And so I was there for all of that. I got to see the stunts to where Michelle and Ronda Rousey fall off the balcony. That was killer. That same day, we went 15 hours, and it was so cool because Vin Diesel is such a nice guy, and he kind of gets bad rap because of who he is and all that stuff with the feud between DJ, Dewayne Johnson, The Rock, and Vin Diesel. But he always treated us nice on set. He was a cool dude, and DJ is one of the best, most amazing dudes on set as well. And so on the 15th hour, they call it kind of like the Golden Goose Hour, where we've been there since, man, I think call times for that was like 5 a.m. And so we were on the 15th hour, and we were hungry, and Vin Diesel knew we were hungry. And what he did was, man, him and DJ, they came out and they delivered pizzas to the entire cast, crew, and all of us. It was amazing. It was so cool. What's really awesome is, not only was I in Fast and Furious 7, I got to be blessed again and asked to come back for Furious 8, Fast 8, right? And so in this scene, I'm with DJ and Jason Statham, and they're in this prison scene, and of course, I'm a prisoner, not a prison guard, right? So we're sitting there, man, and we're fighting these guards, and while we're fighting these guards, DJ and Jason are doing their breakout, right? They're trying to break out of this big maximum prison scene. It was awesome. That was a crazy set, meaning that we worked 4 weeks filming those scenes over and over and over again. It was grueling. I was so sore after those scenes. That was really cool. It's got a funny story to tell you about Fast 8 set. Me and my buddy Indiana, we were walking back from the prison studio part, right? And we were walking across, and where we were filming it is a really cool old school Japanese like manufacturer in Atlanta, in Norcross, Georgia. And so what was really cool was DJ and his mom and I think his niece, they were in a golf cart, and they were clicking along, man. And Indiana and I thought that we were going to be able to make the walkway to where he wasn't going to hit us. Oh my God. We messed up because we had no clue where we were, right? And Dewayne kept hauling ass, and he was hauling ass in a freaking golf cart. And man, he broke like 4 to 3 feet in front of us and just started laughing his ass off. And then his mom started laughing her ass off, and it was great. It was awesome. That's one of the stories I have to tell you. And then one of the sad stories I have to tell you is, I mean, it was a blessing for me. I got to meet Paul Walker before his very young, youthful death. 2 weeks after we got done filming these scenes, Paul Walker died in a horrific car accident. More on that later, but what was really cool about me filming with Paul Walker is we actually had a cool moment, and I was over by the bar, and we were waiting to be directed by the PAs and the AD and all that stuff, and Paul was going to get a drink at the bar, so they basically told me to hang out next to Paul and act like I'm getting a drink with Paul, and then I go away because I'm a billionaire playboy and he's trying to mingle with me and everything else. So in between takes, we really got to know each other to where, I mean, like, we discussed about family, spiritualism, you know, how he was able to break out in his career and everything else. It was just a really solid moment. He's one of the nicest dudes I've ever met in my entire stay in this universe. He was one of the most genuine dudes, and like, it was like he was asking me questions about, you know, my life, you know, instead of me having to always ask about his life, which was really dope because a lot of people don't take the time to do that these days. So it was really cool to feel that energy with Paul Walker. And then what was really even, my buddy sends me a text and he sends me this video, and it's a Wiz Khalifa video. And so this song that Wiz Khalifa dedicated to Paul Walker, I'm actually in the clip with Paul and Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez coming off the balcony together, and it's just a really cool scene. So it's kind of kismet that I got to meet him, and then after he passed away, I'm in the music video with Wiz Khalifa, which was just, it was just awesome. Next thing I want to talk to you guys about is Fast, you know, 1, of course, Fast and Furious, all the way to now Fast 10. I mean, it is the most profitable Universal Studio franchise ever. Now, that includes eclipsing over Jurassic Park. Okay, that is a big feat in itself. I think the reason why it's done so well is because they film internationally all over the place. And they actually go to those sites and film. Now, we filmed in Abu Dhabi, really cool penthouse scene in the towers in Atlanta, but Vin Diesel and those guys actually went to Abu Dhabi and filmed the exterior scenes. The reason why I know that is because one of the days, Jason Statham, something happens where a car gets stolen. And they're driving the car because they have to get the thing in the car to steal, right? And I can't remember who was driving. I think Jason Statham was driving, but then I think also Vin Diesel or Paul Walker might have been driving too, but I really can't remember. Regardless of the matter, in those scenes, I'm diving and I'm doing stunts on Furious 7, right? And so what's really cool is in between those takes, I meet one of the financiers of the picture through Vin Diesel, and he was an extra with his girlfriend who was from Miami, and she's like this amazing chef, this baker chef that I met. Like, she does all these cool desserts. She was like really cool, and she was his girlfriend, and he was like this young kid, the son of the financier of Fast 7, right? Furious 7. however we call it these days, right? And it was really cool to hear about how they had not gone to Abu Dhabi yet, but like 2 to 5 weeks later, they were going to go to Abu Dhabi and finally film the exterior scenes after they got done in Atlanta. But then Paul Walker passed away, and they had to shut down the production. I think we shut down the productions for about 2 to 3, maybe even 4 months. I remember us filming Furious 7 in July, August. And I remember Paul Walker passing away sometime around those dates. And then, you know, in November, that's when we picked up, and that's when we went back, and that's when we did reshoots and all that stuff. They did Paul Walker a justice. They came in and they hired his 2 brothers, you know, and those guys really landed it, because one was like the exact body, you know, of like a photo double body of like Paul. And then the other one, I believe one's Cody and the other one's maybe Corey, I can't remember. But regardless, the brothers came to Universal's aid and Vin Diesel's aid. And that's the thing about Fast and Furious. It's all about family from the get-go. You have all these misfits that get together, but they're all about family. And then later on in the actual process of the actual franchise, of the actual movement, you know, John Cena, which is Vin Diesel's brother, right? And then you got earlier, you got Hobbs, right? And you got Hobbs chasing Vin Diesel. And then now you have Fast X, where you have Jason Momoa playing the son of the dude that they killed to get all the money from in Fast and Furious 5 in Brazil. So he's come back and he's haunting everybody, including Helen Mirren, John Cena, Jason Statham, Vin Diesel, all of them are being targeted because of what happened with his dad. So I love it that Jason Momoa is going to be the what would you call it? I mean, he's the villain, but he's kind of like an antagonist because he jokes around with them and then he attacks, right? And there's some crazy scenes in the new movie, man, where he takes this huge ball, like cannonball thing, like it's like this huge rock from like Indiana Jones, right? And the Raiders of the Lost Ark. And it's like rolling through Rome, Italy, man. And his target is Vatican. But Vin Diesel and the dudes and the girls and everybody involved, they get together and they fucking go and they fucking knock it off course, and then it fucking ends up blowing right before the Vatican. So you see all that stuff. Then you see a bunch of helicopter stuff. You see a bunch of airplane stuff where the bridge and all that stuff and the cars are going down and they're being lifted up. And it's going to be an amazing film. And recently at CinemaCon, Vin Diesel came out and he introduced and he announced to the world that there's going to be a part 2 of Fast and Furious. So it's going to be Fast and Furious 11. And that's going to be the final chapter. Now, I am going to let you know this. You know, it's not going to die out after Fast 11. There's going to be tons of spinoffs. Universal is prepared for this. They're not going to let this die. They're going to bring in the younger generation and they're going to capture them. And they might, I highly doubt it. They could recast some people, but I highly doubt it because Ludacris and Vin Diesel, you know, all those guys and girls that are involved with Fast and Furious franchise, you know, they're legit, they're in their prime. Why not just let them keep going with Fast and Furious? You know what I mean? So that's a little history about what I was able to do early in my career. I was blessed. I was very thankful. I am part of the Fast and Furious franchise. It's just so nice to be part of that franchise as well as many other franchises. But Fast and Furious was kind of special. One reason is, till this day, I have so many friends and people that I consider family from that set. Crew members, actors, actresses, my homeboy Swift, who's actually videoing this for me, and he's my all-time creator with me in CB Jesus. So big ups to Swift. You know, you can see him on Instagram and all that stuff too. We've been tagging him to get him involved and all that stuff, trying to pump up CB Jesus. I want to take also extended a little bit amount to thank all of our fans Man, it's so cool. We never thought that we were going to be at this type of viewership in such a short period. So we really appreciate you guys and girls and all the beautiful peeps in this world. We love you and thank you for tuning in. Peace.